Good morning, as always. Adam 20 dispatch.
Adam 20.
Go ahead and show me 1041, 108.
Adam 20, 104, copy.
Okay, so today, as you can see from your screen, it's not going to be a cops patrol, at least not yet. As I've talked about in the past, I've always said that the violence against police must stop, and we've had a lot of it. So I've released a few episodes to that end. Last night, it came to my attention of a 2 or 3 minute scene that I thought I dreamed, because it was just surreal and unreal. And then I wake up and it wasn't a dream. I don't know. It's going viral on YouTube. You can find it just about anywhere. I watched a couple-minute episode. I signed the petition that's going around. She was placed under arrest at one point, but she was summarily released. That's the good news. And the best news is that son of a bitch who arrested her is under internal affairs investigation at the very least. So the background of the story is that it was Utah Police Department, happened at the end of July. The officer brings in an accident victim who apparently was in and out of consciousness, because I heard her particularly say that the person, the victim, told her he has no warrants. So, and I'm quoting her at that point. So I'm going to say in and out of consciousness. And the police department wants the victim wants a sample of the victim's blood to do a test on to see if he was under the influence. Now, this is the victim, mind you. This guy is not brought in under arrest. He does not have any warrants, and the guy has now been pumped up and sedated. He is in no condition, and he's unconscious. He's in no condition to give consent. Nurse follows her procedures and is on the phone with part of, I'm assuming, a guy named Brad, who you'll hear if you watch the video. I'm assuming is part of the hospital's administrators, and giving her all the required information that she must provide to the Utah Police Department, saying why she cannot provide legally the blood sample. It is filmed by body cam. It is both the, I have not found one for the officer, the one in question that you see in the picture there, in the black shirt, who made the arrest. His badge number is, give me a moment, 863. I think his name was Jay Haney, as it was kind of muffled when they asked him his name on camera. And I actually started taking notes so I can prepare for this video. And I actually got writer's cramp. Matter of fact, I'll tell you how far up into the video I got until I finally got nauseous and almost threw up my breakfast. I got to 14 minutes and 27 seconds. So that tells you how far I really tried to go to see if they maybe redeem themselves or something. So, at 2 minutes and 6 seconds, you hear I believe I'm just referring to him as his badge number, which is Officer 863. Officer 863 says to an officer whose body cam you're watching at about 2 minutes and 6 seconds, if she interferes by not providing a blood sample, she is to be arrested. Off-camera officer. You hear, if you do watch the video does recommend wearing earbuds or headphones. Because the officers do kind of mumble a little, so it's hard to catch it. Even myself with a headset, I actually had to listen to it a few times. And the officer off camera indicates about the same point. This has to have happened before. Why is this so weird now? I'm thinking to myself, well, let me think about this for a second. Maybe the last time the patient wasn't unconscious. Maybe last time the patient you brought in or had a warrant. Or maybe the person you brought in was actually under arrest and you're giving them a stomach pump. So there are a lot of things that can make it different. I don't understand why that statement even existed in this video. But anyway, I digress. She has a paper that you'll see. Let me give you another timestamp. She has a paper that was printed at approximately 6 minutes and 23 seconds. And she presents a copy, you can see her in the video holding it, of this letter that she just printed. It's the agreement that the Utah Police Department and the hospital signed, covering when the hospital will perform or hand over any blood work that is in connection to a person they bring in. It states directly the person has an e-warrant, electronic warrant. Not the case in this point. The person's under arrest. No, this is the victim. Not the case. Or the patient gives or provides consent. The patient at this point is unconscious and heavily sedated. Not going to happen. If you hear me flipping papers, it's literally because I filled up almost 5 pages of notes of just how stupid this whole thing is. And the officers were being. Let's see. So then the cam officer goes over to some security guards to try to, because at one point you hear the officer whose body cam you're watching say to, God, I wish I didn't have a memory of a goldfish, Officer 863. He indicates, well, why don't we get a warrant? Why don't we just go get a warrant and then they have to provide? 863 actually says, and it is audible, I do recommend headphones, that they don't have, that they can't do that, they don't have PC. Now, for those of you who don't know PC, Rocket City Gamer, I know you do. Those of you who don't know PC, PC is probable cause. It's what officers must have to detain you, question you officially, arrest you, obtain a warrant. They don't. He actually admits audibly on camera they don't have PC. Are you kidding me? Okay, so the other guy, she did do her job. That was the problem. She did her job. She protected her patient against unlawful search and seizure attempts. The other officer then attempts to talk and try to validate what they're trying to do. This takes place at approximately 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Officer trying to establish PC with security officers. This takes about 30 seconds for him to find something that she finds something that he can link to another case. At approximately 5 minutes and 1 second, he returns to 863. God, he sounds like a Borg, me calling him that now. But he returns to the 863, and he didn't return to 863 yet. He actually, 30 seconds into the conversation with security officers, he says, "At what point do they realize they're violating the law?" I highly agree with that, Ken. At 536, it's very inaudible. And this is the body cam officer. He says something, hope, and then there's the inaudible part, and maybe prove point. So it's at this point that he's almost saying he hopes that they don't say, yes, here's the blood. And that way they can actually arrest somebody and prove their point of what? Superiority? I don't know. At 5:45, the body cam officer plays Supreme Court. At this point, let me explain this. There are three ways in this country, in the United States of America, that I think we still live, but after this video, after the video of this officer, I'm not quite sure. There are 3 ways in America that laws are created. Okay? They are passed by the legislative, and then they get signed by the president. The president makes an executive order and signs it. That is the second way. The third law, absolutely. The third thing is the Supreme Court can make what's called case law. Case law is simply a ruling by the court on a certain matter that becomes case law, such as the Miranda Rights. It's not an official law. It was something placed into law by the Supreme Court. So technically it is case law. However, so he plays the body cam officer plays Supreme Court to try to establish PC. After some talking, he finds a way to link this to obstruction of justice. At 6:16 in the video, he proceeds to chat with 863. Now that he has new intelligence, and better be new, he hasn't shown any yet. But anyway, concerning the PC, and he indicates to 863 that they could use obstruction of justice if she doesn't comply. The 863 actually at one point declines that. And he says, well, no, we'll go with interfering with a crime scene. Really? I have a question. There is no lawful investigation going on. Because there's no warrant. There's no search warrant. Arrest warrant, search warrant. There's no arrest. There's no nothing. So there's no crime scene. So how could she be guilty of interfering with the crime scene if there's not one created? Okay. So he says his exact words were interfering with a crime scene or something. We'll get the actual code later. Okay. At 6:23, this is when I indicated she has the paper now. She's on the phone with her. I'm assuming it's her boss or one of her bosses or an administrator that is telling her what to do and how to proceed. She gets the printout that the police department had to sign in good faith with the hospital concerning this. Honestly, I'm for justice. And 863 was not giving that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, she shows him what is now contractual law. Okay? I'm picking my words very specifically, succinctly, for an actual reason. We are now talking contractual law. Because they want to talk laws. Well, that is law. So, that piece of paper that the police department would have had to sign with the hospital in good faith says that they can only provide this information through electronic warrant, arrest, or consent. This can be heard on the video being explained at 6 minutes and 23 seconds. At 6 minutes and 27 seconds, who is Brad, who is now on speakerphone, and you can now hear him, nurse indicates that to the nurse, reminding her, you are not representing the hospital. You're just doing your job. 7:19. Brad. Well, that was 7:19. Sorry. 7:30. Brad asks, why are you blaming her? To Officer 863. Quote, she's the one who told me no. Really? So, out of the entire hospital, the only reason he's going after her is because she told him no. Really? Yeah. At 7:36, warns the cop of, and I quote this, you're making a huge mistake because you're making threats against hospital staff. At 7 minutes and 41 seconds, Officer 863 lunges for the nurse. She backs up to keep distance. At 7:43, the cop makes several decrees that you're under arrest. Which, if anyone knows law, once a cop makes a decree that you are under arrest, anything you do to stop him in his duty is considered obstruction and resisting arrest. Resisting arrest and obstruction are always given in tandem because the obstruction occurs automatically once he says you resisted him. Okay, but if you watch the video at approximately, it's somewhere around 7:43 to 8:23, you're gonna see that he chases her as she's sidestepping away, grabs a hold of her. And if you watch the way he's got her, his hands seem to be very nicely encrusted upon her breasts. So my thought here is maybe he's been told no by too many women. And this is actually a sexual aggression thing that he's kind of working out. But I digress again. Okay. So we got all other officer security guards. They don't assist him. In fact, at approximately 8:23, when he's putting the cuffs on her, there's nobody there to actually help him. 8:35 states he is leaving with her. My question is, you didn't have probable cause to even detain her, question her, or anything. She said what her duty was. Your duty is to either go get a warrant, which he knows he can't get, or what? So without probable cause for this detention, I'm counting up some felonies here. I'm counting up aggravated kidnapping, assault, battery, abduction, forcible and illegal detention, and at least 3 counts of harassment against hospital staff. But again, I digress. At about 11 minutes, there's some inaudibility. Let's see. But it sounded like he was refusing to speak to Brad. At approximately 13 minutes, she is now sitting in the front seat of his vehicle, and she's now being talked to by a second officer. And at this point, 863 is still refusing to speak to the hospital administrator. I don't know if he did after 14:27, because honestly, I had to go throw up. But they start playing the good cop, bad cop. The next cop started playing good cop, try to start explaining why they're in the right and she's in the wrong. I'm sorry. Anyone in here who knows the law, knows contract law, how laws are made, and how appropriate procedure must be done. It's ridiculous. At one point, the good cop starts talking about how if what they're doing is illegal, there's civil liberties, and if they're taken to court. But that's after they already get the blood sample, and who knows what the hell they're going to do with an illegally obtained blood sample. And you got to take them to court retroactively. So, you know, that's a complete bullshit. And this cop, this one playing the good cop, tried to say he's 22 years experienced in law and search and seizure, and trying to explain and justify the obstruction of justice. Guess what? If you're experienced 22 years on the force, maybe it's time you go back for a learning annex course and get reacquainted with your goddamn job. Okay. 1427 wants her to violate the federal HIPAA statute by talking about her patient, the victim in question. When she declines, we have further issue. But trying to understand what it was. Now, there's another issue. It occurred around that 8-minute mark. At about that 8-minute mark, 863 decided to say officially she is under arrest. Again, I choose my words carefully, and here's why. I don't know how other YouTubers do it for when they play GTA 5 with LSPDFR and they play their character and they do their episode or live stream. I don't know how others do it. Here's how I do it. I research the crap out of law. In my case, I do my patrols mostly out of California for my character. I research the crap out of California law. I've lived in New York and Texas. I don't know California law. I had to research it. Everything you hear me say, every 10 code, 11 code, general code, every law, to knowing the difference between a DWAI in 49 other states and the District of Columbia, and wet and reckless and dry and reckless, and you know, vehicle code 10851 and vehicle code 20002. Okay, to other people those are just numbers. To me, that means somebody's joyriding and somebody in a stolen auto and hit and run. I researched the crap out of it, and I even wanted. And there's always big contention. When do you read somebody their rights? Well, in California, you read somebody their rights when they are officially being detained or arrested, and or you are about to question them officially. I'm usually not going to question my perp, so I don't read them their rights because I don't need to under law. Only when they're about to be questioned as part of the investigation. So I researched when the Miranda warnings must be given in Utah. So, and I found out requirement to give Miranda warnings is triggered when a police engage in custodial interrogation. This means, for instance, and I'm just reading some of the stuff I copied and pasted real quick. So actually, I'll go from the beginning. The hell with it. But what happens if you are arrested and police don't read your Miranda rights? Typically, the case is dismissed. The requirement to give Miranda warnings is triggered when police engaged in a custodial interrogation. This means the police must be asking questions related to the investigation of the crime, and that their person being questioned must be in custody. Okay? California has similar statutes. If police question a suspect witness, or other individual not in custody, the warnings are not required. The question of when is the person in custody is not black and white. A person walking freely down the street is not in custody. A person who is handcuffed and going through the booking is in custody. The person who is sitting in the back of a patrol car to keep warm would not be in custody. What about the person who's now been verbally told that they are under arrest, she is in cuffs, and she's in the car, not to stay warm, but so that 863 bad cop can go into the step back and let good cop take over to try to take things over and smooth things around and explain what's going on, even though they're completely on a bullshit reason. I also try to search, and then I'll roll film. I looked for something similar to California to see if Utah had it. The California Highway Patrol, the points on their badges actually mean something. And I'm not being facetious or sarcastic with that. They do actually mean something. And I will actually go ahead so I'm kind of getting sick seeing that cop's face still up there on the screen. Let me go ahead and 7 points. That should be on the desktop. Bear with me just 1 second. There you go. That is what the points on a CHP officer's badge means. At 11, you have character, the qualities of moral strength and vigor. Integrity, the moral defense against corruption. Judgment at 3 o'clock is the qualities of moral strength and vigor and stability. 5 o'clock is loyalty, faithful to the precepts of highway patrol and fellow officers. Courtesy, at the bottom, respect for law and order and for the individual. Honor, the qualities of moral strength and vigor and stability. Knowledge is at 9, qualities of the strength and vigor and stability. And of course, character is at 11 o'clock. How many of these, if this guy was a CHP officer, did he violate? He shows he has no integrity because he's willing to make up law. He has poor judgment. That just goes without saying. He has no loyalty to the precepts and conditions that the police department may sign with other agencies and hospitals. He has no courtesy. He has no honor since he doesn't have the first few of these. His character is very much in question, and his knowledge apparently is less than some YouTubers doing this thing, because he says, oh, we'll just get her with interfering with a crime scene or whatever. You know, I never said that before. You know, on any of my episodes, oh, I'll just hit him with something. I never said that. Because that would be, first of all, it'd be a violation of this, and even though I'm not CHP, it's a character I play in a series. I still try to uphold to their code. That way I do justice to what I'm trying to emulate. The only other thing I thought of, and this will be the final, the CHP Code of Honor. And if you go to our Discord server, and I will provide the link, this link won't expire, so by all means. It is free to sign up, obviously, and by doing so, you can then go to our text channel called The Oath, and it's the CHP Code of Honor. Reads as such: I, a member of the California Highway Patrol, subscribe in word and in deed to the following: to serve the United States of America and the state of California honestly, conscientiously, and to fulfill my oath as a soldier of the law. To uphold and maintain the honor and integrity of the California Highway Patrol, be loyal to my fellow officers, respect and obey my seniors in rank, and enforce the law without fear, favor, or discrimination. Assist those in peril or distress, and if necessary, lay down my life rather than swerve from the path of duty. My personal conduct shall at times be above reproach, and I will never knowingly commit any act that will in any way bring discredit upon the California Highway Patrol or any member thereof. To all of this, I do solemnly pledge my sacred honor as an officer of the California Highway Patrol. I don't know if Utah department that he works for, or did work for, I can hope, but I would like to think they do have something similar. And how does he feel right now? I would like to ask, in the perfect world. How does he feel about having knowingly violated every ounce of that? And why I said in a perfect world is because those who are disreputable, those who are without honor and integrity and lack good judgment can always, and I do mean always, justify their actions as moral or ethical. Because moral and ethics come from within. I watched that video. I thought I dreamed it. I wake up to find out I didn't. I spent a lot of time saying how the violence against police must end, and then 863 comes up. Give me one more moment. And since I was asked to do it, the YouTube station we are about to watch is not actually mine.
Specialist Ladd Egan is live at Salt Lake City Police Headquarters. And Ladd, the body cam video is getting strong reaction tonight.
Yeah, and the police department says that they do not like what they see in that video, and they've launched an internal investigation to find out what happened that evening at the end of July at University Hospital. Let me set the scene for you. A victim of a car crash arrived at the burn unit. Officers show up from Salt Lake PD wanting to draw the patient's blood, but because they didn't have a warrant and the patient was not suspected of doing anything wrong, the staff said it was against protocol. Also, the patient was unconscious and therefore couldn't give consent. Nurse Alex Wubbles says she is still confused and emotional about suddenly getting arrested.
The only job I have as a nurse is to keep my patients safe. A blood draw is not, it just gets thrown around there like it's some simple thing, but blood is your blood. That's your property.
It was alarming. Immediately after seeing the video, they started an internal affairs investigation to look into what happened. We also looked at our policies and procedures to see if maybe there was something that needed to be done.
if she interferes in any way in me getting the blood draw, she is to be arrested.
So this can't be the first time this has ever happened. So why is it weird now? You know?
I've had run into something similar, but they ended up consenting. I've never gone this far.
So where's her boss?
Oh, she's been talking to him on the phone. Were you the only one come up, or are there more?
As far as I know, I'm the only one. I'm recording just
Hey, it's Brad.
So
I need your help.
Okay.
I am down in the emergency room. What was that? I think I need you to come in if you can. I have officers who are running.
I do apologize for that comments video. How are the comments for this video? There's nothing I can do to actually get that off the screen.
This can't be the first time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So, I mean, it seriously can't be the first time we have to drop blood on somebody. It's unconscious. I mean, this has to happen all the time. So, I don't know.
3 or 4 times in the gold pod alone. Oh, upstairs, yep.
Where's he at right now? Is he? Oh. So did he cause? Did he kill somebody?
We don't know. They just called us because he was trying to threaten to arrest her, so that's why
Well,
we're trying to keep the peace.
sure.
That's why we brought it. That's wrong.
HIPAA is seriously fucking stupid. So, exactly. So, at what point do they understand they're violating the law?
Until you hear it click, click, then they go through this, especially with uni a lot.
Oh. Is that the...
I almost hooked a lady up at it 2 weeks ago.
Is that the side?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There needs to be some clarification. I don't.
You know what? I hope maybe it'll prove a point.
We had one of our guys, like, a few people up once.
Employees? For interfering, I guess.
Yeah, for obstruction.
Cool.
Shit at him. His phone went off. I jumped. Because I thought it was mine.
So, just so I know, if she does end up the boss will say, no, you're not getting it. You're arrested for obstruction or interfering.
Interfering with the criminal investigation.
That's
Now I'll figure out what code is. Probably.
Fine with me. I am sick and tired of coming up here
So
and dealing with this.
hold on, Brad. So I printed this off. This is what I was told to print off. Hold on. Brad, I'm just putting it on speaker so you can. So I have this. It says obtaining blood samples for police enforcement from patients suspected to be under the influence. Okay. This was something that you guys agreed to with this hospital. The 3 things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest. And neither of those things, the patient can't consent. He told me repeatedly that he doesn't have a warrant, and the patient is not under arrest. So I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do. That's all. So.
Okay, so I take it without those in place, I'm not going to get blood. Is that? Am I fair to surmise that?
Alex, you're not representing the person in the hospital. You're just
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea why he's blaming me. I'm just representing.
Why are you blaming the messenger?
She's the one that has told me no.
Yeah, but sir, you're making a huge mistake right now. Like you're making a huge mistake because you're threatening a person.
Okay.
Oh, please.
No, we're done.
No,
we're done. You're arrested.
Hey.
We're done.
Sir, I have administrative coming. Hey!
Seriously. Hey. Hey. Hey.
You're assaulting me! Stop! Stop! I've done nothing wrong!
I have administrative.
I'll hold your phone.
I've done nothing wrong! Take my phone!
I haven't been
What is happening?
Hey.
This is crazy!
And this is really unnecessary.
This is crazy!
She's under arrest. Fine. It doesn't have to doing her job.
Hey.
Why is he so angry?
That's fine. Okay? I'm leaving this with her.
Tell Brad what's happening.
Anybody who
That's my
wants to
manager.
commit that, that's your option. He will be taking them. Okay? So, take your off her plate.
I have hospital administration coming. They can talk to you. Sir.
You can talk to him. Let him take her to the car.
Then walk.
No, I am not being let to walk. Stop! You're hurting me and holding me. Please, I can't believe it. What is happening? What is happening?
How does this dig in this particular car? I have three
Brad, what is going on?
Alex, calm down, okay? Calm down. So I'm trying to get administration in here right now. I've been trying to get a hold of the psychiatry officer as well. Perfect. So right now,
about ready to leave. Headed for watch command.
I know, and I have our
You're out front of the hospital? Oh, good. Where's the ER?
officer. Can I get your name?
J. Payne. Yeah, I've got it.
J. Payne. P-A-Y-N-E.
We're at my car.
I don't either.
What's your badge number, sir? H63.
H63?
Okay.
I know, but you don't have to do that. Hey, Brad, I got another. Awesome. Thank you.
Is that her phone?
Yeah.
I'll give it to her.
Damaged by.
Please take my phone.
I'll take it.
You want them? You don't want it?
I don't know what I want it, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it.
Well, I can put it on your lap, or you'll want it.
What is happening? I don't understand. I come to work to
Somebody wanted that. Hi, sir. Would you like to speak to this young lady?
Well, I need to talk to you first, and then I'll talk to her.
Okay.
Hi, this is Brad, supervisor again. Hey, they have arrested the burn surgeon. So I have the officer right here. Can I sit you on speaker?
Wearing a dark blue shirt and light blue shirt. Does have a razor with him. I get a physical locate and come down.
I don't know. I have chief of police.
That's a loose.
Thank you. I have our privacy officer.
Okay, they're busy. Give him a second.
Just a second.
Is that in connection with the call you're on?
Hey, can you give him a second? He will talk to you. I can promise you that. Give him a second.
The problem is this, okay? You're telling me what your policy is, and I appreciate that you have a policy. No, I know. The right. understand that. You're telling me what a policy is. It's a workplace policy. What people, what lawyers and stuff put together to prevent liability from coming onto the hospital, and I appreciate that. What I was trying to tell you on the phone is the law, okay? And what I'm trying to say is, now, had you taken the officer up, you could have had a
It's not an issue of me taking it up. I'm also obligated to my patient to protect them.
Okay, the person that you're trying to protect is the victim in a fatal crash. Okay, we are trying to determine if he has anything in his system or anything, but
he's already, from Logan, he's already been given medication to keep him comfortable. So any of that information would be a
right,
moot
but
point.
no, because
That's not up to me.
the hospital records will clear that on the levels that are given. Okay, you're trying. No, you're trying.
But that's not going to help it.
You're trying
I'm
to
just being
legal defense.
No, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm being told what to do and what my.
Okay.
I've been told.
And what I'm trying to tell you is, we wanted blood from this guy. Now, I have talked to people, and there's probably a much better solution that we could have come to. Okay, but all we had to do was get the blood. Okay, and my point is, there are civil. If we're breaking the law, if we're doing wrong, okay.
Just listen to him.
Listen to me. If we're doing wrong, there are civil remedies. Okay, it's called fruits of the poisonous tree. If we took this blood illegally, it all goes away. All right. So there's civil remedies if we make a mistake. What I'm telling you is, we are not making mistakes. Okay, I've done this for 22 plus years. I know what the law is when it comes to search and seizure. All right. And what you have done, because your bosses are telling you to, has been to prevent this officer who was called out to do a job to do his job. That's obstructing each other. Okay? I understand you're not trying, but you're succeeding. That's the problem. Okay? And so what we want to do is, tell me this. Is it practice for the hospital to draw, did he come in unconscious? Okay, so you can't even answer my question. I know, that's what I'm saying. Okay, but see, do you take blood from them? As soon as they come in, right? Okay. I understand that. Okay. If I knew that beforehand, I would have just told Logan to come and get a warrant and access that blood that you guys have already drawn. Okay? But this is stuff that we can discuss, not when you're telling me, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, you did. When I tried to explain my point, you said it doesn't matter what you say. I'm not letting you go up there.
I did not say that. I specifically said I've been told you have to have a warrant signed by a judge.
And I'm telling you you don't. No, and I'm
I
telling you.
just wanted to clarify it with both my house supervisors here and the people that were telling me that information.
Is this person, do you know, is this person a resident of Utah that we're trying to get blood from?
I have no idea.
It's another problem, okay? So why are you involved in this? You don't have anything to do with this.
Because I'm the charge nurse in the unit that he was admitted.
Okay.
You want to hold this just in case she wants you to keep it? I can give it to her.
But you're not trying to understand. You're trying to tell us no. That's all you're doing. Because I'm trying to explain stuff. And all I'm hearing is, well, I can't. No. And I'm trying to tell you, I understand that is the policy position, but your policy doesn't affect my legal standing.
Sir, yes, there are people coming, and I have Tracy's coming, Brad is coming, Colleen is coming. Sir, I have the hospital privacy officer on the phone with me right now.
And what does he know about this individual that I'm trying to get blood from?
Just what we've told him.
Okay, so he doesn't know anything. I don't need to talk to him. Okay? Because he's going to tell me what your policy is, and I understand what your policy is. I'm trying to tell you what I need legally. Okay? And your policy right now is contravening what I need legally. Okay? Which I may not need it. If you have blood that I can get Logan to come and get a warrant and test for later. Okay? But this is all stuff that we should have a conversation with before I'm told no. Okay? There's a very bad habit up here of your policy interfering with my law. Okay? I am trying to conduct a criminal investigation, step through the process, okay? And you guys are trying to prevent liability coming on the hospital. And I appreciate that, but those sometimes don't meet, and they don't match up. And so I gotta decide what we're gonna do with this young lady. I need to find out if this guy has a Utah driver's license. If he does.
Do we know his name? I can start looking into it.
It's William Gray, yeah.
William Gray, about how old is he?
William Gray, born in 73. It's on the log.
If
you're attached to this log,
in my trunk,
it's on the log.
on the top of my blood draw kit, there, just under the top of the
Hey, where'd you say it was?
See my blood draw kit? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's at the top of the should be right there.
Yeah, I got it.
Bravo 237 at 8.
Bravo 237 at 2009. Bravo 211, go ahead.
I'm clear. I'll take that burglary on 4th Avenue.
Roger 211 at 2009, thanks.
Bravo 237.
Bravo 237.
I can take the fight at Fairmont Park.
10 4, you get started that way. If you'll see, check the guy out over by the doggy park. It's been only about 35 minutes. A group of people are just in the area. They're wanting to keep the guy on the ground. That's kind of good. Your suspect is
Well, and see, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that, sir, because I don't think the individual we're talking about as a CEO involved in a fatal accident, and he has their FR5
Hey, I'll put this back for you. Hey, 1014. I'm not seeing the Utah deal. Don't know if that changes anything. Hi, let me turn this off.
Okay, so there's the full video. Video will also be a link in the description as well, on at least on YouTube. And just in the closing minutes there, I loved how the officer who I declared as a good cop said, my law. Well, isn't it our law? Because he's susceptible to the same laws as I am, as you are. Well, I realized that, but I looked on it on YouTube. It's not really blocking up anything that's necessity. It's blocking up mostly the frosted section there, and only a little bit of the screen, but nothing really important got blocked out. Yeah, so he says my law. It's our law, because he's susceptible to it the same way. And then, did anyone else notice in the 15 minutes to the end of the video that that officer was talking and questioning the nurse about particulars about why she's being arrested. He was trying to explain to her why she was being arrested for obstruction of justice. And, gee, that would seem to qualify. Requirement to give Miranda warnings is triggered when police engage in a custodial interrogation. Meaning the police are asking questions related to the investigation of the crime. And their person being questioned must be in custody. Well, I don't think Officer Sneaky Bones there, 863, I don't think he would deny that he said, "You are under arrest." Therefore, once she's in cuffs and once she is sitting in his police car, and by his own verbal statement, she is being officially detained and arrested. And then so now, in the view, using basically language that's usually on a traffic citation, the above aforementioned officer, in his opinion, has seen you violate this, this, and this of the vehicle and traffic code, for instance. So, if you ever needed to know what you're actually going to court to defend on a traffic citation, you're defending yourself against the officer's opinion. In his view, you violated this. Well, this is what we're going now. In his view, there was a crime committed of obstruction of justice. The Officer Baldhead Sneaky Bones, 863, decided that there was a crime committed of obstruction of justice. Okay? So, she is now placed in cuffs. She's now placed in the car. She was seatbelted in the car. And then his supervisor, presumably, or maybe just somebody who got their badge out of yesterday's box of Cracker Jacks 22 years ago. So he's really experienced with Cracker Jacks. Comes up to talk to her and explain for which she did and why she's being charged with what, and asking her questions pertaining to her apparent charge. This would mean she was not provided her Miranda rights. I didn't hear it. Any of you hear it? Because I sure as shit didn't hear it. And this is I watched the same video right now with you. And I didn't hear it. That would mean right there, there is no case against her. These officers, led by Officer Baldhead Sneaky Man, violated her civil rights, violated possibly contractual law, and Officer Sneaky Bones needs to be himself arrested, not assigned to a desk and retrained. You know what? Retrain is something you do to a dog if they shit when they're not supposed to. Retrain is something you do to a cat who maybe doesn't, if he can't find the litter pan or doesn't know that a litter pan exists. Retrain somebody after they clearly violate civil rights and justify their own bad ethics and morals. And I hate the words good and bad, and I hate the words right and wrong, because these words are, it's like I said earlier in the video, why in a perfect world I would like to ask him what was he thinking, but I wouldn't do that. Because the evil man who can always, the antagonist can always justify their means. They can always justify and make it an ethical and moral, righteous note on their side. Even though it's the most heinous act and you want to condemn everything about them. So that's why in a perfect world I'd ask them, because I would get an answer we would expect. But in this world I won't. And in this world I do not even want I don't even pay taxes to Utah, and I don't want Utah to waste Utah's tax dollars trying to retrain a guy who was so oblivious, who early on in the video says, I can't get a warrant for this because we don't have PC. So this cop admits 18 minutes. There was 18 minutes. There was 18 minutes of bullshit. The whole video should have been done 2 minutes in. When the cop said, there's no PC. We can't get a warrant for this. He should have known then. He should have known then. He can't be retrained because that kind of obscene, gross overlooking of what is right and wrong in the legal system, otherwise said as what's lawful and what is not. He is so obsessively blind to the legal system that he claims to cherish and enforce. He can't be retrained. This man really needs to be stripped of his badge, stripped of any pension he's earned, because he does not deserve his pension dollars. He needs to stand trial for what he did. I count at least, depending on the mood I'm in that particular moment, he's guilty of at least a half dozen felonies. But his supporting officer, the one when I said they were playing good cop, bad cop, he did exactly what I thought would happen. The good cop comes in, he played the bad cop. He did the bad thing. He was the hard ass. Then he brings in the soft glove to explain it all. And it's supposed to make things right. It's supposed to make you think, the world is good again. Well, guess what? No, it's not. The world is about as fucked up before that all happened, and it's a little bit worse now. Thank you very much, Utah Officer 863. You make the job 10 times harder for real-life police officers. I play a police officer in my series. And I try to play that to the letter of the law, to the clear-cut description of law that California decrees. And I had to teach myself that law backward, forward, up, down, and I'm still learning things. Just to try to deliver an honest performance. This is this guy's job. He needs to know it for real. I can only hope that the IA investigation that has been launched since the end of July will lead to the conclusion that I would love to see. I would love to see this guy stripped of his badge and face charges that he needs to face if there is justice. Not retrained. It was too grossly incompetent. Too grossly incompetent. So, at 11:33 in the morning on a Saturday, how's everyone else's day going? I'm thinking of being back later today with a live stream. If nothing else, I will definitely release episode 82. But I do have to sign off for now. Mostly to regain myself. I thank you all. Rocket City Gamer, M, Arsenio, Walt Jones, JB, Dan, obviously, RDOJ, and everyone else on Periscope and YouTube and Twitch and Mixer and Smashcast for tuning in and letting me get this off my chest, because this literally, when I saw it, I thought I can't say it again. I have to say it again. I thought I dreamed it. I thought there's no way that could happen. Then I saw it again on a video and no. It had to get said. So, I thank you all. I thank you for the subscriptions. I thank you for the follows. I thank you for tuning in and letting me be your entertainment. So, as always, don't forget to share the video, leave me some comments, not necessarily on this one if you don't want, but make sure you share it, make sure you get the word out, because this is, crap like that cannot happen. It cannot happen. So, hit that follow button, and that way you'll be alerted if I go live, or when I release a new episode on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. And, okay, so, till next time, as always, Adam 20 Dispatch.
Adam 20.
Go ahead and show me code 4, 10-7, 10-42.
Adam 20, 10-4, copy.